Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all. Welcome back to another Feran Technology Public Live webinar. My name is Syahadatul Iskandar and I am the Senior Application Engineer at Feran Technology Sendirian Berhad. Today is a rather odd day for us to host a webinar, right? Because today, this webinar is a special event in which we will be hosting a webinar for our business partner, OSPROV. Okay, but before I introduce our speakers to the stage, I would like to pose a scenario to all of you viewers out there. The scenario is this. What would you feel if your salary is coming in late this month due to, number one, your finance new hire cannot trace the latest salary approval form from the system? Or, number two, your boss belatedly noticed the approval request? Or, number three, your organization is so confused with all the changes happening within the new urgently enforced salary management system due to the sudden COVID-19 pandemic. I would feel so much frustration by this and hoping that there is a system intelligent enough to control a single file with versioning, timely and persistently notify your boss to approve the payroll, yet flexible enough to cope with any sudden corporation changes, right? After all, the most important core business functions that any organization requires to ensure their business is pandemic-proof are governance, flexibility, automation, and accessibility. With that being said, please welcome our speakers who are also the co-founders of OSPROV. Our main speaker for today is Mr. Shahrul Azrael. Please welcome Mr. Shahrul Azrael to the stage. Hi, good morning. Assalamualaikum.
Hi, morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
He is the head of marketing and sales in OSPROV. And welcome our second speaker, Mr. Jures Yahya.
Hi,
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
He is the CEO of OSPROV. Assalamualaikum. Very good morning.
Waalaikumsalam.
And last but not least, our third speaker, also the co-founder of OSPROV, Mr. Afirul Afif. He is the product owner of OSPROV. Waalaikumsalam. Welcome to everybody. I'm glad to host you here inside our public live webinar channel in YouTube. So, I have proposed or I have posed a scenario earlier in my opening speech. And now, without further ado, I will pass over the session to Mr. Shahrul for his presentation on our webinar titled Preparing Your Organization to Be in Operation During Pandemic with OSPROV. Over to you, Mr. Shahrul.
Okay. Okay. On 3rd of April, year 2015, in one of the talk show presentation, ideas talk show presentation, TED Talk, if you are familiar with it. Okay. The co-founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, has been delivering a speech with the title, The Next Outbreak, and we are not ready. That's the title of the speech that Bill Gates talked during the TED Talk in 2015. Okay. In one of the in the talk, one of the fact that he mentioned is that if anything kills over 10 million people in the next decades, it's highly likely to be highly infection virus than a war. So he did mention, he did warn us, the world, that there's going to be an outbreak. There's going to be something coming and it's going to kill millions of people, but it's not war, but it is a virus. And yet now we are facing it, and it's still, we are fighting it, and we're still in the stage of pandemic currently. So as you know, the pandemic attacks have been impacted a lot of world, not only here in Malaysia, but also in the world. And it has changed the way we live at the moment. compared to before. And then guess what? Last year, probably not this year, probably around February 2021, this year, in a talk show organized by Derek Muller, which in his channel, YouTube channel, Veritasium, they called the invite Bill to the talk again. And they asked Bill, what do you think about your prediction saying that the pandemic will be attacking the world and we should be ready on that, knowing if it's us, we say that I told you so, you should be prepared and so on. But Bill, he did not mention that. He did not tell that us that I told you so and so on. But what did he mention is he says that I should be more persuasive. It means that he should be more persuasive on explaining this virus or pandemic attack, this outbreak, this situation to the world, so that everybody will actually aware of it, take action on it. And that is why. And guess what? In the talk also, Bill mentioned that this is not the last one. There's going to be another one in the next future. It's probably not a pandemic, and he did mention it's a climate change. Okay, so that's how. Why did you think that the story is about Bill telling others? Why do you think that Bill did not proud of himself telling that I've been predicting this and so on? Because he knows that this pandemic or this situation, the world changing situation, is actually impacting everybody and impact a lot of the world, a lot of things in the world. It's not only impacting the health, it will also impact in the education. It will also impact in the economy as well. So he knows that we're not going to be as normal as before after this, because the way we do things, the way this pandemic has impacted us, has changed everything in what we are doing. So that is why actually when we say about doing the normal thing, new normal is actually one of the terms that we have been using it for, I think, almost 2 years, that we never used before, but now we are using it. New normal is the way how you do things, the way how you learn in school, the way how you go to shops or shopping. You probably go into online shopping more rather than going to the shops of doing shopping. And of course, for organizations, the way of you doing works and doing doing things or stuff in the office. Probably you have to do some things that you can do anywhere, everywhere, and anytime, and so on. Okay, so I just coming to that. Today we're gonna share with you some of what OSPROV. Our software name is actually OSPROV. Okay, so we are business process, digital business process and automation system. How we actually can help in adopting this new normal into the organization. So the point number one is actually we are a cloud-based software. So if there's any pandemic happens or anything world-changing stuff happens or whatsoever, if you need to do, if you've been locked down in the house or you've been locked down in the place and everywhere, you can still access to the system because it's a cloud-based system. It can be accessed anywhere, anytime with any devices, mobile, laptop, desktop, as long as connected to the internet. All right. And of course, as I mentioned, we are a digital business process system and automation system. Explain more about this, how we digitalize your business process, because in your organizations, we do have a business process. It means that, as mentioned by our moderator today, that if you have a salary that being processed, your finance staff is not there to do the manual stuff in the office and so on. So those are the stuff that you can actually digitalize it and make it accessible anywhere, and you can do your works anywhere, anytime, with any environment. All right. And then the fourth point is actually OSPROV. We are an easy to use software, easy to enhance, and easy to design. We'll look into it later with one of our case studies and so on. All right. So our motto is actually innovating the simplicity. It means that our software, we emphasize on the simplicity, simple to use, simple to configure, simple to design. Right? Why? Because from the studies, from the survey and studies that we have been doing, that more than 50% of a company that have implemented a software or a system implementation in their system, in their environment organization, is not being using the system. It means that the system have been became a white elephant system, which is not being used, abandoned, and so on. Because the number one factor is because it's complicated and very hard to use. So that's the main problem of all the failures implementation of IT software and so on. So with OSPROV, our main goal and our main motto is actually we innovate, but with simplicity. All right. So let's look at the common challenges in an organization. Okay, this is a common challenges is not only in Malaysia, but in a good organization across the world, across the region, is the same challenges that happen in the organization. First of all is actually the manual process. As mentioned, there are still a lot of manual process that you're gonna do, or probably you've been using the hard copy, the paper, and so on, but it's not yet digitalized. That's one of the challenges in most of the organizations in the world. All right. The second challenges is what we call a missing automation. All right. The missing automation means that in between, probably you have some system already in place, but in between of the system, there are still manual work to be done. In this case, if a pandemic happens or the new norm take place, it still cannot be 100% automate or 100% digital, because you still have the manual process in between that you have to be entertaining. So that's what we call a missing automation. And the third one is complex business process. When you say about complex business process, different organization might probably have a different business process, which is actually tested and proven within their organization and so on. Okay, when they purchase a software or a system outside, when a system being purchased, the system probably have their own ready-made software, or sorry, ready-made process, or the way how you're going to work on that. So what happened if the organization way of doing things is different from the system, but the system they have already purchased on that? So normally what will happen is actually they're going to customize the system to follow their business process. And then what is bad about this customization is it's not wrong, but the thing is when you customize things in the ready-made software and so on, what happen is actually it will incur time, cost, and money. So these three things are so customizing the standard one, and of course probably jeopardizing the warranty, jeopardizing the support, and so on. You have to support on your own and so on. That's some of it probably like that. Okay, that's another challenges in organization. And of course, the last one is actually multiple investment. Let's say, for example, you are trying to automate your finance process. You invest into one system, and then you probably want to automate one of your procurement process. You probably going to invest another system to support on your process and so on. So what happened is you probably will need to invest a multiple investment, which will cost you more in the long run, of course, in terms of maintaining, running and maintain, in terms of purchasing it and so on and so forth. So I'm going to share with you today how actually OSPROV can help help on the organization to manage these challenges. Okay, the first one is we can help on automating the process. It means that, For examples like the situation of the pandemic, situation of the lockdown, new norm, where you're working from home and so on, we can digitalize the business process, and some of it probably we can automate it. But what most important thing is actually everything can be digitalized and in the platform. So that's how OSPROV can help in the business process on automating the business process and so on. And then we can actually help in connecting the missing link. Let's say, for example, in the case study just now, saying that you have a few systems that probably not there's a in between, there's a manual process involved, and some of it needs some automation and so on. So what happened is in OSPROV we can help to connect this missing link in the automation, not to throw away your existing working system, but to connect it with the other system. All right, and then the fourth one, the system OSPROV is actually, we're gonna look at it later on, flexible and agile. It means that no matter how complicated your process is, no matter how your process flow is, our system OSPROV is very flexible and agile. Flexible means it can be designed based on your process, based on your working process. And agile means, let's say, for example, down the road, you're going to change your process. Let's say, for example, next month, you do some audit, you do some ISO audit and so on. You need to change your process to be more efficient and so on. So changing the process in OSPROV is actually very easy, and it's agile. That's what we call agile. So it means that it supports the versioning, it supports it without jeopardizing all the old process and so on. All right. And of course, in OSPROV, with OSPROV, it's only a single investment. You don't have to invest in multiple investment in software and so on. You can actually automate whether your process in your finance process or in your IT process or in your procurement process is into one single platform. And best of all, you can actually integrate in between of the process and so on. All right, so that's about it about how OSPROV can help. Okay, and then just let's look into the product itself. I mean, in terms of business process, when you say about business process in your organization, they are actually categorized into three things. First, in the information you're gonna input, it means that what we call input, whether you're gonna input it via form or you're gonna input it via other system, you're gonna input it via automation, or you're gonna input it via sensor and so on. That's what we call input. So information coming in. Okay, and then the information will be processed. Process can be a lot of things, whether you have a review process, screening process, you have take action process, approval process, and then probably you a meeting process, integrated meeting, you need to meet somewhere to decide on whatsoever and so on. All the process is in the process module. And then the third one is the outcome or the output of the process, whether you want it to be stored in the system or you want it to be emailed to somewhere, or you can generate it as a PDF or as a cert or something, or you're going to push it to other system and so on. Those are the things. And with this, with all these three, the most important thing is that you need to assess your process, which we come into the most critical and the important things is reporting analysis and analysis. You're going to see how efficient your process is, how long is your process took place on every steps of it and so on. So that is where you need this reporting and analytics. All right. So this is the breakdown, or is the skeleton of a business process. So this is some snapshots of our system, the OSPROV system itself. Okay. Okay. I'm going to explain about the features that we have in a short one. We're going to explain, browse through on the features of OSPROV, what we have, and after that we jump into the system straight away and see how this can benefit you on using the new norm and some of the case study that we're going to share later, how new norm has take place and OSPROV have helping them and so on. All right, first is the forms. Forms, as I mentioned, in OSPROV we have a forms, and the forms is very flexible. Even the end user, sorry, not end user, the process modeler or IT person in the organization, they can easily drag and drop, amend, edit the form easily. It's a very user friendly. It's a drag and drop things. Okay, of course, in the forms, it can be feed from form is where you want to input your information. Of course, it can be coming from other system, or it can be coming from email. It can be coming from you user entering the data and so on. And in the future, going to be from the sensors, IoT devices, and so on. And then we do have a review process, review features where you can review the information. All right, review information is a very dynamic review process. And you can also use this as a screening features, the information if you need it to be screened or review and so on. And then the next one, we do have a very complete approval functionality and tracking. It means that if there's the process needs some approval and something, so the features of approval process in OSPROV is actually you can say that's a complete, where there's a lot of features there where you can actually approve, comment, and then you can actually derive your approval, delegate approval, and also it's open. You can also open the approval for the external. It means that, for example, if the process needs some external input or external review or approval, there is a features that you can actually open that system for the external to coming in. For external, it means that outside of your organizations, all right, coming in and put some review or remarks on whatsoever or approve and so on. And of course, the features number 4 is the most used one, which is the integrated meeting module. It means that all the information, if you need a meeting for that process, it can be done directly in the OSPROV. And this what happened with this is actually all your informations, all the comments, all the review, all the stuff that you capture in the meeting will be captured in the system. It means that, and even the approval can be done in the meeting directly into the system. It means that no longer have to be a physical meeting. You can actually get it integrated together into the process, and it can be scheduled and so on. And this, the most important thing is you can track back all your meeting minutes, all your approval in the meeting, who comment about this, who talk about this, who highlight about this, and so on. So this is one of our integrated meeting modules. And of course, next features is actually a notification. It means that if in any of your business process, you need to notify somebody or notify the other departments or notify outsiders or something, we do have notification features where you can plug and play whichever part of notification that you need to be inserted in your business process. And of course, the integration with data with other system, it means that if you need the information to be processed, but the information is actually you're gonna crawl the data from the external or other system, probably in your environment. You need the system already storing the data. We don't want it to be input by the applicant again. So we can actually crawl the data or integrate the information from the IC system and put into the process and process together into your business process. And of course, the triangle of it, we do have our dashboard and reporting and analytics inside of OSPROV itself. And the last one is the audit trail. It means that every single process or every single steps or action inside OSPROV is being logged, and they have an audit trail of it. It means that if you're gonna trace back everything, who approved this, who edit this, or who designed this, everything is captured in OSPROV. And this, when you are going for any compliance certification or ISO or something, this is actually needed. All right, so that's about features of OSPROV. And then 3 steps to run OSPROV. Okay, of course, on running, it's not necessarily you have to be running it during your physical face-to-face. You can actually run it or implement it during this uh, new norm environment or era. Okay, first of all, you need to have an endorsed business process. It means that, of course, you know the best of your business process. You do have your existing tested and proven of your business process currently that you have. Okay, so you have an endorsed business process, and step number 2 is design in OSPROV. You can design it on your own with the training that we give, or we can design it for you, or our partners will design it for you. No issue, because it's a very simple and easy way to design it. Of course, but of course, when start of onboarding it, you probably need some help and so on. But let's say, for example, in the future, let's say, for example, you're going to change or you're going to add some process and so on, you can actually do it yourself, because it's very easy. Later you're going to see it. It's very easy, very simple and straightforward thing. And of course, the third step is actually to implement it in organization. It means that once you have designed it, endorsed, and don't afraid that you need it to be perfect and so on, because remember, we do have a agile functionality. It means that if your process is still can be improved, or you need to enhance or change your process, it supports agile functionality or features in OSPROV. And of course, on the third steps is you implement and run it within the organization. Okay, so enough about it. I think that's we're gonna share. This is just a sharing a case study. One of our most recent clients that been running OSPROV during the pandemic. We haven't even see them face to face. I mean, they run it and they implement it during this new norm era, and they have been using this from in 4 segment in the organization as of now, which is in the HR. They use for recruitment requisition, interview assessment. In financial, they use for fixed asset code creation, vendor master creation, and business technologies for hardware and software request form, email creation, and also their operation where they do the digitalize their business process in terms of engineering change and request for change and so on. And probably there's going to be more and more, because they have invested in one, they can actually do it on their own to digitalize it and so on. So the thing that I'm going to share with you is actually they implement the project, or they implement the OSPROV in the organization during the pandemic. It means that you don't have to see, or you don't have, in order for you to run OSPROV or get involved in OSPROV or implementing OSPROV, it's so easy that you can actually run it during this new norm session and digitalize and so on. So everything uh, can be in online or digital nowadays. So it means that even there's a pandemic attack, of course, at the moment that we also don't know where going to be end. Is there any lights at the end of the tunnel? Let's hope for the best. But of course, we cannot wait for the best. We have to do something on ourselves. I mean, in terms of organization, because just remember that we probably, some of you think that maybe, okay, this is my company and so on, but you need to understand that if you contributing the companies to the organization, and the organization is contributing to the country and to the world, to the economy and so on. So let's help each other together, I mean, to actually save the countries. And of course, even though it's a small contribution and so on, but don't take it as a small. Actually, if your company can survive or can be more efficient during the new norm, it's actually helping a lot of the economy in our countries. Right? So no more job loss. Hopefully, we can help on saving jobs, we can help on saving revenues and so on and so forth. All right, I think let's move straight away into just a quick demo into the system, so that you can have a look and feel of the OSPROV system itself. This is a demo system, and I'm going to show you how easy it is, and you can see the drag and drop functionalities and the features and how it looks like and so on. I think Mr. Moderator. Okay, all right. So yeah, okay, and okay, this is our so-called landing page. Of course, this is a demo system. Probably, if if a public or is an organization system is going to be on the private domain and so on and so forth. You can actually log in it via your OSPROV account, or you can actually log it using your SSO ID. It means that if you have implemented SSO in your organization, whether it's Microsoft or Google and so on, it can be derived and can be actually included using that login into OSPROV account, and we support SSO. Okay, let's see on the first. Let's see on the admin page, or what call a process modeler IT area, on how login into the IT system. Okay, this is the SSO lah. All right. Okay. Okay, let's log in using the OSPROV account as a process modeler. Okay, you can actually log in into OSPROV, and this is the place, the dashboard and so on. There's a sub menu on the left where all the design or process that you can design and so on the left hand side. Of course, we're not going to go through every detail of it. We can see one of it is actually the process modeling. Let's look into the process modeling sub menu. Okay, go down sub menu. We do have a setting. We have a settings. Of course, in the settings, we can actually see the settings of the system and so on. Okay, this is a process modeling sub menu. So it means that you can create system. System means that whether you want it to be finance system, HR system, or operation system, or whatsoever system and so on, you can set it there in the system. And then, of course, in other process modeling, you have form. Okay, let's see how actually the form been designed. I mean, to edit or enhance the form, how easy it is to actually editing the form. Okay, sorry, we go for the system first. All right. I'm not sure if this lagging or something, but okay, let's see in the form. Okay, probably one of the form we can view on one of the form. We can see how easy it is to design or amend, to add fields into your form, to capture information to be gathered inside your business process. So probably we can drag and drop the information from the left hand side to the right hand side, and is the form will be updated in the form functionalities. Okay. Okay, and then yeah. After the form, we do have okay. We're gonna look at it first in the form. You can publish. You can actually attach your document. You can attach drawing, or you can actually attach pictures, videos, anything. You can attach, drag and drop it into the form to be processed and so on. And you can save the form, and you can. There's a lot of features and functionalities in the form. And besides the form, you can also view in the process of review process. Actually, you can set the reviewer who will be reviewing the process. Whether in the roles, you can actually, we do have like roles, authorization of the roles, whether you are reviewer or approver and so on. You can actually set it to be plugged in together into the workflow later on. So you can see on the reviewer. And After the review, we also have what we call approval process, where you can actually you can actually see the approve. You can set the approval, who's going to approve this, which role, which manager, department going to approve, and so on and so forth. And on the modeling. And beside that, after the approval, we also have what we call a meeting. This is what I mentioned before, the meeting process, where you can actually input it into your workflow, where you can insert it into the meeting, where if the workflow needs a meeting, you can actually insert it into the workflow, and you can have a meeting. And then during the when you're running the OSPROV, when you're running the process, there will be a meeting before approval and so on, and everybody in the organization, or in the that's involved in the decision of that outcome, can log in into the system and attend the meeting and put the comments into the meeting, and so on and so forth. Okay, and yeah, and the meeting can also be in the calendar, will be inserted in the calendar, can be scheduled by frequency, whether weekly, monthly, and so on and so forth. You see, with this, it means that you no longer will need some manual interaction. Of course, if you're gonna see your face, your manager face to face, you can always see it in the video conference and so on. But you can actually work from anywhere. You don't have to be in the office to be working on that, because later we will also show you that we also have mobile devices, mobile apps that actually support offline in case there's no that's the internet connection is not very good in the place that where you can still running the process or approve or reviewing the process, because we do have offline capabilities of mobile apps, where we store the data into the mobile apps and push it once it's actually get back online with a strong connection and so on. All right, and let's move into let's say, for example, of course, the next one is the custom hook. Custom hook is where you can actually do the integration with other system and so on and so forth. And okay, I'm gonna show on the workflow. I would like to be in the workflow, share with you on the workflow process, where you can actually go into the workflow and design it based your own process. You can see whether you need a 1 layer of approval, 2 layers of reviewer, 3 layers of approval, and so on. It depends on your process, and it can be designed easily inside of OSPROV without a very hard of coding or something, because it's just a drag and drop. As long as you know the functionalities and you know the process that you're going to implement, it can actually be designed as easy as ABC in the OSPROV. Okay, and of course, in terms of the output of the data, output of the outcome of the workflow, it can be stored in the master data. It can be stored in the, it can be generated PDF. You can push in the other system and so on. We might not be able to view all the functionalities here during the short periods, but probably this is how it looks and feel in OSPROV. Of course, in terms of security wise, we do have authorization based security settings, where you can actually tackle your security based on role, or we call it by channel. By channel means that if you have a process, for example, if you do have a process, for example, apply for leave process, but you in different division, but the process is the same, your approval will be different. So this can be differentiated by authorization channel. It's like an object-based authorization. It means that this is one of the enterprise features that supported in OSPROV, where it can support even you have multiple companies in the organization, by company codes, by division, by departments, we can support that, by cost center and so on of that. Okay, and of course, yeah, right, and okay, And probably we're gonna see how look and feel of it in terms of when you finish designing the process in OSPROV as an IT person and so on, you can actually run it and deploy it for your organization to be used. And as a user, you can actually, probably we're going to look into the user side of the system, where you can access the system as a user, single platform, and assessing the process whichever relevant and authorized to you. It means that if you are in finance process, you will be seeing all the process related to finance. If you are actually in HR department, you will be seeing all the process related to HR. It will depends on how you set it in the authorization and so on. So let's look in the look and feel of the user based workflow inside from the user side of OSPROV. So in the user side of OSPROV, as mentioned, we can log in it via SSO, single sign on. It can be in Microsoft or Google. Or if you have Okta, you can also include Okta account here. But of course, if you do have anything else, we also can configure that for you on that one. Make sure. Okay, as you can see, all the available forms, or if you only eligible for applicants, it means that you will see all the forms that related to you. But if you are actually a reviewer or you actually approver as well, you can actually view all the tasks or action that needs your input or needs your action to be inserted in the process, whether you have to review and so on and so forth. So this is how the user side of OSPROV looks like. It can be accessed, as I mentioned, can be accessed anywhere, anytime, 24/7, 365 days a year, and at any devices, mobile, because it's responsive, and as well as laptop, desktop, and so on, as long as you have internet. And of course, not only that, we also have so-called the mobile apps of OSPROV, which recently is currently will be a general availability by end of this month. Will be published in the iOS, the App Store and the Play Store. Okay, it will get access. And I think Mr. Moderator, can we view the mobile side or mobile apps of the system? Can we see the mobile apps of OSPROV? Okay, before that, I think probably. Okay, so this is the mobile apps of OSPROV interface, the user interface of OSPROV. You can put in your domain. Domain means your company, whether your organization or something, and you can put username and password, and you can submit. Let's log in into that, and of course, once you log in into the system, all the tasks inside that is pending to you, whether not pending, that acquired your action, will be inserted in the your user interface. And you can actually see here just now that we submit one of the applicant submit the hardware and software request form. So let's say, for example, you are not in the office, or you are not in front of PC to approve that. Probably you going merentas negeri or something, having some emergency or whatsoever, you can still approve this. It means that your business process will not break. That's the most important thing. You will not break. It means that you can be running, because once you break, it will be stopping your process for the others to be coming in. So you can put the approvers comments, you can insert some of data and so on, and you can approve on that as well. So of course, this is depends on the settings of what is appear in the mobile apps, which depends on the design and settings inside of your in the OSPROV of organization. So you can see here, and of course, as I mentioned before, mobile apps these mobile apps is actually support the offline capabilities. It means that you can actually save it first, and once the internet connection is good, maybe you have in outside of the good internet connection. Once it's the internet connection return back to good connection, it will push all the information back and so on. Okay, that's about the mobile apps. Okay, so of course, if you want to see more on the system and so on, we will be happy to show it you personally on the system and access it into your organization and so on. Mr. Moderator, probably we're gonna go back to the slide, please, just to share with you on our product roadmap. Okay, because as mentioned, we innovate and we evolve. We innovate with simplicity. That's what our main focus is. Uh, okay, so share with you our product roadmap, what's going to be in our release, because we're going to release new features and what we call FPS, or features package stack, that we're going to release by quarter. As I mentioned just now, that we're going to release the mobile apps end of the month is actually in our quarterly basis features and so on. All right, and what's gonna be next is actually we have location-based authorization, embedded digital signature. This is actually in the form already. You can actually use your signature. I mean the digital signature embedded there, and we're gonna also gonna release the plugin store. It means that if you do have some features additionally, you can actually use the plugin store, plugin and embedded some third-party software that can be included in those OSPROV as well, and of course a drag and drop condition routine and embedded payment gateway. Okay, but this one, the embedded gateway, will be pushed into FPS4 because there's a lot of compliance issue and so on still in discussion. Yeah. So by end of the year, we going to introduce on the machine learning workflows, and of course, the most important thing is the IoT input. It means that instead of the form, you can actually input the data through the sensor and so on. And of course, we do have other things like RPA, functionality, custom dashboard, and data quality management. Okay, so I think I have another 1 minute for the presentation. So let's say for examples, okay, there's too much to absorb and so on. The key takeaways is these 3 things for you, right? First of all, is actually be prepared. Get your organization ready with the new norm, because we never know when we will be back again to the old norm. The new norm has become norm right now. It's not anymore a new norm. So be prepared. Because why? Because your action, your decision today actually is going to be impacting the economy of your, probably impact on your process efficiency of your organization, or and maybe will be increasing revenue, cut costs, reduce costs and so on. But this will impact on the economy of the countries. And guess what? You are contributing of saving the economy, contributing of saving the jobs, help people, and this is what we need to contribute in. Of course, the next one is automation. Make yourself make your organization is digitize and automate whichever things that you can be automate, so that you become more efficient in the organization and so on. And the last and most important thing is, even though if you're not as well, but you find something that is actually very simple and easy to use. Because why? Remember the fact that I mentioned to you is that the most failure project of software investment is the one with the very complicated settings of software, because at the end of the day, people won't use it if it's complicated. So these 3 takeaways that I'm going to share with you. So I think this is some thoughts and fact that share with you that digital is the main reason half of the Fortune 500 have disappeared since 2000. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Okay, talk to our team, get your organization assessed. Talk to us. We can help you assess your organization, how you can you can embark into a digital business process. It's not necessary you have to pay or you have to buy OSPROV yet, but talk and see if you can see, you can help you on assessing the system. Okay, I think that's all. Enough of it. I think we're gonna have a break after this, the way we mentioned, and after that, our CEO will be answering all the questions that you have or doubt that you have. So see you again, and hopefully we can meet you one by one later on to assess your situation, assess situation as customizedly or privately on that one. Okay, thank you very much for listening. That's all from me. Assalamualaikum and happy Friday.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharul, for that very wonderful and informative presentation just now. And not to mention the demonstration given by Mr. Jures and Mr. Afirul. Okay, as we mentioned, we are going to take a short break before we proceed further with our Q&A session. And by the short break, I will play a short video clip, short video clip to demonstrate our features in OSPROV, as well as a testimony video from one of our customers by OSPROV. Okay? Enjoy the video, and we will meet again after the video ended in Q&A session.
From Badan Putrajaya. I am proud to announce that our system, the OSC 3.0 monitoring system, had won an international award, which is the annual meeting award that was held in Dubai during the 31st October 2020. Since the OSPROV system is built from the same framework and team that built our system, I am confident of this system capabilities. Thank you.
Okay, let's welcome back our speakers. Unfortunately, Mr. Shahrul has another agenda to attend to, and an urgent agenda. So we are going to discuss our Q&A with two of our remaining speakers, Mr. Jures and Mr. Afirul. Okay, welcome back to both of you to the stage. I have gone through the questions inside our chat area or comment area in this live YouTube channel, and we have some questions given by our audience. I will flash the questions in our screen, so that is easier for us to discuss. Okay, the first question is coming from, let me share the question here. Okay. The question is regarding, I think, the clientele of OSPROV. So far, which agencies are using OSPROV? Maybe Mr. Jures can answer this question.
Okay, sure. Okay, as per the testimony video lah. So first agency that using our OSPROV core engine is PPJ. But of course, theirs is the earliest version. So and it's a heavily modified version lah. So yeah. That one is from PPJ lah. The agency is using OSPROV right now.
Oh, I see. But by stating that it is heavily customized, is it customized solution, custom fit to the client? So it makes OSPROV very flexible to any client needs, right, Mr. Jures?
Yes, correct. Yeah, but the one that PPJ uses is the earliest version. In fact, the new OSPROV right now that we have, the on the cloud version, is actually using based on the proven feature that we see that they really use last time. Okay, so now the way that we do the newest OSPROV version is through, as Shahrul just mentioned just now, we have what we call the hooks, or you have like a plugin where you can do all the customization lah. So we use that kind of method right now lah, for ease of
So
maintenance later on.
it's much
Yeah.
easier right now.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So moving on to the second question by Yati Abdul. She is asking whether do you have trial version of OSPROV?
Okay. Yeah. Currently we don't have a trial. Okay. Reason is very simple. OSPROV is usually when the use case for OSPROV is must be tailored to your business case or business need. So what we do, the approach that we do usually is we have our partners like Ferran. Okay, they will approach these customers, and then they will understand what kind of business process that they have, requirement and they have, and usually we will have a POC period lah. So you during the POC period, maybe we have like a 1 month trial, or depends on how long does it take to handhold our potential prospect on using the OSPRO system. From there we will create maybe one simple scenario, one or two scenario of their business process end to end, and see how OSPROV actually already automate and digitalize their manual processes. So to answer, short answer is we don't have a trial version, but we do have a POC where the user can try out the system. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to put it, because if you mention a trial version by OSPROV, then it's only OOTB features, right? So it's not really
Correct.
custom made
Yes.
to the client's needs. So by
Yes,
using
and
POC as the trial is much better.
yes, and also we don't want to overwhelm the customers, because as you can see, even from Shahrul's short presentation, we have a lot of things inside OSPROV. So if they see too many things, they might be overwhelmed
Yep.
lah. So yeah,
Yeah. And they get scared for
correct,
purchasing the whole complete set.
correct.
Okay, so the next question is coming from our audience, Danalytica. The question, there are several questions in this. What tools do you suggest to capture the data in OSPROV after implementation to do analysis, KPI metrics, etc.? I think this is more towards data analytics. So I'm not sure whether Mr. Jures or Mr. Afirul can I'm not sure which one of you should answer this.
yeah.
Mr. Jures,
Firul, product
do you
owner, will
want to
answer
answer?
this. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Currently, in OSPROV, we do have a built-in analytic and statistical function, but it's just as simple as you can see in our demo. Just now we have that charting and all the listings, so it's just a simple analytics and statistical tools lah. But of course, all the data in OSPROV, if you use it, you can export the data out. Either using our export tool, export it to Excel or CSV, or you can also use our custom hook to stream our data to external tools like whatever statistical and analytic tools that you have. And also in our future roadmap, in our feature pack, we are also planning to create an Power BI embedded in our system, so that our customer can straight use it in OSPROV lah.
I see. I think the hype right now is Power BI. Do OSPROV works well with Power BI as the data analytics solution?
Right now, not yet, but we do can customize it for our users. But like I said, in the future, in our feature pack, I think in our end of the year, we are planning to make a better or tighter integration with Power BI lah.
I see. Good to know. Okay. The next question also from Danalytica. Okay. This is a matter of marketing, I think, how to convince the top management that it is really the right time for a change towards digitalization. How can we approach these questions? Because I think it concerns more than simply system change or system integration, right? It concerns a lot more considerations for the top management to be convinced. So I think this is more appropriate for Mr. Jures to answer.
Okay, all right. Okay. Look, okay. How do I convince management it's time for a change? Okay. Usually, when you want to approach the management, looking at this is first you need to look at your organization pain points. So you see, okay, because of the pandemic, what is stopping your organization? Like Sharon mentioned just before, some processes can come to a halt, meaning that previously because you can do face to face, you can actually do that process lah, your business process, you can execute that. Okay, take for example let's say you are a logistic company. For example, you are a logistic company. Okay, previously maybe the way you do it when you deliver stuff, maybe the way you do it is manual. Somebody need to sign it. Your boss need to sign it, and your boss is always there. They are at the desk. Okay,
Mm.
when during the pandemic, this is no longer possible. So sometimes they might be quarantined and all that, they stay at home and all that. So how are you going to continue this business process? So you can maybe convince management by looking at, okay, what happens if a certain business process that we are so used to that is working during the offline processes is working, but now is we cannot execute that process. Is becoming hard. So how much money are we losing? So maybe if, the way you can approach management is you look at losses in terms of maybe opportunity costs, meaning that you can no longer execute that one. So how many clients are you losing? Or maybe you can look at time save. So meaning, for example, last time, because this one is a manual process, it takes maybe, okay, take example from PPJ last time. Using the manual OAC process, it takes them around nearly 3 months to complete end to end. Okay, just to explain what happens to OAC is that okay, when you submit something, for example, you want to buat renovation or your house or whatever, or create or renovate a building. So they have a proper process. You have to have like a bomber punya approval. You have to have like the DOSH approval and all that lah. So there's a lot of approval. Last time is manual. It takes about nearly 3 months or more. But because they use automation, they use digitalization. They have their OSC system, which is based on OSPROV. They cut short all this to 1 month or maybe less. So usually they can do that lah. So you can explain to management how many time is saved by doing automation, and with this time save you can do other more fruitful things. For example, finding more customers or do more marketing. So you can do that. Okay, I hope this answers your question. Of course, it's a case to base basis lah. It depends on your organization itself lah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I think this question is relative to the organization itself.
Yeah, correct.
But one of the points that I can add on the points that Mr. Jures has said is knowledge, right? Normally, organizational knowledge has been tied to a certain people or certain person. But during this pandemic, we see that the count of death increases by daily basis. So we really afraid that the knowledge attached to a certain person gone with the person himself or herself. So by doing a digitalization system, we can digitalize the knowledge to the organization instead of a person. I think that's one of the main reason as well. If you want to convince your management, again, it's relative to the organization.
Yeah.
Okay. We have more questions coming in. I will flash the next question here. Okay. Question from Rohan Ishak. Can we subscribe monthly instead of yearly? Okay, before you answer this, I will flash another question. I think it is quite related to this one. And it's quite related to the point given earlier, related to POC. Okay, let me scroll the question here. Okay, I hope you can see the question. From Yati Abdul. Oh, not this one. Sorry. From Yati Abdul. Okay, POC is free. So I think these two questions are related. The first one is, can we subscribe monthly instead of yearly? And is the POC mentioned earlier free? So maybe Mr. Judas can answer these two questions in one answer.
Okay, yeah, correct. Okay, yeah, the POC is free because we understand that to use OSPROV, you need to really understand where's the strength and what OSPROV is, what OSPROV is not, to use it effectively lah. Because like Asharu mentioned just previously in his slide, we don't want this to be a white elephant kind of project. So yes, POC is free. Okay, and then the other question
Okay.
is website, is it?
Monthly
Website. Yeah.
subscription or
Oh, monthly. Okay.
that's the next question.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. Yes, we have a website. You can go to ospro.com, or you can find out from Farah itself. So no problem. You can contact our reseller, our partners. So and then the other
Hmm.
what's the other question? Yati ada
The
three kedua je.
monthly subscription.
Oh, monthly.
We
Okay.
have one from Yati POC, and then from Rohan is this one. Can we subscribe by monthly subscription instead of yearly?
Yes, the answer is yes. However, we have a discount for yearly discount.
Okay. So is more beneficial for yearly subscription, of course.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah. I think this question has been answered by you just now. Do you have a website?
Uh,
Yes, of course we have a website. I think before we end this webinar, I will play again the video that we seen during the break. Okay. So within the video, we also have stated the website. Or if you can also Google OSPROV, I think it also pop up in the search result, right?
correct, correct. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all for the questions coming in from our audience. I'm not sure whether I want to flash Xavier Naza question because I'm not really understood the context. But
Okay.
during the presentation, during the presentation, I have cast two polls, which the second poll I'm ending it right now, and we'll see the poll result in terms of percentage. Let me just end this poll very quickly. Okay, I have cast a poll. The first poll is a question. I post a question during our presentation. Has your organization started its journey towards digitalization? Okay. So the answer options are yes or no, only yes or no, and we have 14 votes coming in for that question. So out of the 14 votes, 64% of them choose yes, yes that their organization has started their journey towards digitalization, and no is 35%. Okay. And then the second question here, I asked the viewers or the audience, how do you track your file versioning, or how do you track file versioning in your system currently? So I gave four options. The first option is create a file copy as new version. I think this is the most commonly used um, control system in our industry. And the second option is single file versioning. The third option is no control, and the last one is others. And if it is others, then please state in our chat area. So out of these four questions, the winner is create a file copy as new version, as expected, and the runner up is no control. So I hope by these two polls, the audience can grasp a clearer idea of how important it is to have a digitalization system, especially using OSPROV as the provider, because we have provided 8 features inside one solution, as per what mentioned by Shahrul in his presentation. Okay, other than that, I don't think we have any new questions coming in, or if you have, or if Mr. Jures or Mr. Afirul has any further remarks to add, you can proceed before we wrap up.
So far, no, that's all.
Okay,
Yeah,
Mr. Afirul?
nothing.
Nothing. All right,
Yeah.
all right. So before we wrap up, thank you so much for joining us today, especially our speakers from OSPROV. Unfortunately, we don't have Mr. Shahrul anymore during this Q&A session, but please extend my gratitude to Mr. Shahrul as well. So thank you so much, Mr. Jures and Mr. Afirul. Hope we can see each other again in the physical world, not in this virtual meeting. So and as for the viewers, sorry. I missed out another question from Mr. Asri. Sorry so much for this. Okay. Hi, Asri here. How is OSPROV integrates Microsoft Office documents, i.e. the history, the revision, document review? Could you demo how it works in OSPROV? I think
Okay.
we can
Yeah.
answer the first part.
Okay, okay. Of course, we have the file upload lah. The file upload, it can be any document, and of course, for each version of submission, we maintain the revision that way lah. But of course, if you want for tightly integrated with Microsoft Office document, then we have like the hooks lah. But this one, as mentioned, it needs to be configured based on a case by case basis lah. But right now, we don't have a ready-made integration plugin for Microsoft Office lah.
I see.
Right.
Okay, and as for the last part of the question, could you demo it, how it works in OSPROV? I think we cannot cover it by this webinar, by today's webinar,
Correct,
but
correct,
maybe
yeah.
we can arrange it later, Mr. Jures or Mr.
Yes,
Afirul.
yes, yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. Now, officially, I have covered all the questions. Okay. So, with that, we can wrap up our webinar. Again, I express my gratitude to our speakers and our audience for spending their time attending our webinar today. Thank you so much, Mr. Jures and Mr. Afirul. And for those of you who view this recording, the recording of this webinar will be available in this YouTube channel for your future reviewing or future reassessment. And to get further updates and notifications on our future live webinar, not only by OSPROV but by Ferran as well, we conduct our public live webinar every Wednesday, twice a month, and we can share knowledge together during these public live webinars. So please like, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel so that you will not get missed out any of these webinars in the future. Okay, thank you so much, and see you again in the next future webinar. Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.